beside the... Yeah. Which one? Yeah. So let's take the problem of being, right? The problem of being, which is part of the material. You can have a question on that. It's a high probability. So if you take the problem of being, what is the problem of being? First, can you define it? No, why not? More general, specific difference. Can you go more general? No, it's a more general. I will not go into all the details. If you have a question, ask me. Because being is predicated of everything, so it is the most general. We say it is about everything. Second, can it have a specific difference to differentiate it, which is different from it? No, what would become of this difference if it's different from it? It's not being. So, can being be differentiated into species? Can being, which is the most general apparently, be differentiated into subspecies? No. Why not? Because all specific differences they exist, they are being. So remember water. Okay, how to make from water, strawberry water, blueberry water. You need to add something which is not water. If you add water to water, you don't get differences of waters. So this is the same. We call a genus something, like a material, Aristotle used to call it, which is differentiated by adding to it these little essences or water. Being is not in this situation because whatever you add to it, it is a being. So it cannot differentiate. So it cannot be defined. It is the most general term. And even though it is the most general term, it's not a genus. This is when it comes to the definitions. You have also one more, which is that the question of being is itself absurd. What is like saying I know is and I don't know is. Okay? Now, when it comes to the second one, presence, does being has one meaning or two meanings? If you say that being, like people believe, is just to be here, like the chair is here, this is presence. If really being only means that, this is how you function in philosophy and in mathematics. You say, let's suppose that being only means being here. Can then being mean horse or water or anything else? No, because does the meaning horse means being here? It should be very clear. Being here means it's here. You see it. It's here. So does horse mean being here? No. So if being only means being here, what is here cannot be a horse nor anything. So it would be nothing. Okay? It's a very simple three-step equivalence. If being means only here, horse doesn't mean only here. Hence, when you say this is a horse, you're saying this is nothing. Okay? So this is why being must necessarily have two meanings. Necessarily. It must operate in the realm of meanings and in the realm of what is here. In both. It's not that thoughts and essences are not beings. No, they are also beings. And what you see here is also a being. And actually being function on both. Now the last one is, can being have a cause? Now why not?
Because it needs to exist.
What needs to exist?
The cause.
And why it cannot be? Thank you. The cause has to be different from the effect. If it's different from being, it doesn't exist, there's no cause. So being is uncaused, undefined, even though it's there because, we talk about it the whole day. There's not a single sentence where you don't have being in it. So, it's a problem. I hope this is clear. Okay? It's clear? So, do you have other questions? Something that you didn't understand, something confused, yeah?
From it, we said we know that thought is present. It's how do we know that? How do we know the essence of thought? How do we know that thought is thought?
Okay, it's not like that. It's first, it's about the soul. Okay, meaning, if you want to know what is the soul or what is essential to the soul, how do you proceed? What is the soul? You can ask that. It seems that I'm a soul and a body. Okay, what is the soul? How do you proceed? Anyone? Nothing? Yeah.
When you ask what is something, you think about what's in the, what does it not exist without?
Yeah. And what the soul cannot exist without, and why? But why?
Because it's something you need, I need thought.
No, try it again. Why thought is inseparable? What is separable?
You have to think for everything.
No. What are the functions of the soul? Really, it has to be very clear. You as a living being, what do? Do you walk? Yeah. Do you breathe? Do you sleep? Do you eat? No, not yet. Okay, take it slowly. You will get it. It's very simple. You as a soul, you have to be able, with or without Descartes, to be able, okay, what a living being does. Can you tell me? Yeah.
You can't be a soul without walking, because you can still be a soul without how to walk or be perceived, because they are certain, they do not depend on each other, but you can't be a soul without thinking.
You can be or you cannot be without thinking. You cannot. Now, why can you be without walking or breathing or sleeping? So it has to be very smooth and progressive. Is living, breathing, sleeping, thinking, all of these things? Yeah. What does it mean all of them are doubtable? Can you suspend the belief that you are sleeping, walking, etc.? No? Can you? You can doubt it. Great. But you cannot doubt thinking. Why?
Because when we doubt, we actually think.
And we can't suspend first
Yeah,
walking with our thought, but we can suspend thought because to suspend thought we think.
Great. To suspend thought, shouldn't you think? Yeah. So you can't get rid of thought. If you want to say, okay, I want to not believe in thought, aren't you thinking? If you say, I want to doubt that I'm thinking, aren't you thinking? But when you doubt that you are sleeping or walking or wherever, are you thinking? Is walking thinking? No. So you can doubt walking, but not thinking. This is why you can't get rid of thought. And when you have something that you cannot get rid of, meaning this thing which is called living, apparently it can't be without thinking. This is what we call the essence of. So we say that the essence of what you call the soul is thinking. This is the first one. I hope it's clear. I know, I'm getting there. Is this one clear? Okay, now the second one. Second one, thought. Do you need to know something before thought, or you know thinking before anything else? Yeah, you know thinking before anything else, because let's suppose you want to know if thought is thought, aren't you thinking? So you know thought. And if you want to know, I don't know, God before thought, but no, you know thought before God, at least for the time being. Later we'll see that no, you know God before thought. But in the second meditation, thought is the first thing you access. Because as we've said, thought suspended everything. You're not sure if this is here, if you're walking, sleeping, eating, or whatever. But you're sure that there is thought. And you know what is thought because you have to think to know anything. So if you tell me what is thought, but you need to know thought to know what is thought. So you have a kind of what Descartes used to call an implicit knowledge of thought. You just know it by exercising it, even if later you can give whatever definitions you want of thought, which is not the problem here. You have this kind of immediate knowledge of thought by the simple exercise of thought. This is one. So I know thought independently from anything else. Why? Because I need to know it first. I can't know anything before. And second, is it itself independent from anything else? Yeah, why? Because you can suspend the whole universe and you remain with thought. This is why thought is a substance. Okay, it's clear for everyone. Substance is what? Is what is known independently and what can exist independently. I have an access to thought independently from the whole universe, so it exists independently and I know it independently. it is a substance. Questions on? Anyone, something not clear? It's your opportunity.
You
Yeah.
said, nothing with our imaginative thinking can prove that there is an outside.
Yeah.
Even four causes.
Yeah.
بس في واحدة ما فهمتها منهم.
Yeah. Which
You
one?
said we can't control things.
Yeah. Yeah. Your passivity. Passive.
Yes, passivity.
Yeah. When you're walking in the street, you see a bus passing by.
Yes.
Can you stop it like that?
No.
Really? Can you stop it or no?
No, I can't.
Okay. Now imagine a hose. As I said, can you splash it on the wall? You know, you imagine the hose and you splash it on the wall. Can you do that? You can. Imagine a horse. Imagine a horse, you know, with wings, and imagine it flying into the wall. Can you do it?
Yes.
Yeah, you can. So, you see, this is what you call activity. I can do whatever I want with what you call the internal images, but apparently what we consider to be an external image, you can do with it what you want. So apparently the criteria between knowing the external from the internal is that you are passive or active. I can do with it whatever I want, or I cannot do with it with whatever I want. Fine. So, this is why many people believe that when you see a bus, it's not you doing that. But do you have a situation that contradicts this kind of argument?
Yes,
The dream you dream about many things which you do not apparently control, and yet they are inside. So nothing proves that now this room is actually really outside of my mind. Nothing. Maybe I'm hallucinating, dreaming. Maybe, as you have seen in the Matrix, you are in the Matrix, and everything you see is actually a simulation. Okay? Questions? Everything is very clear, or you don't even remember what. Yeah.
For matter, you know that it's attributed by infinite variability and extension.
Yeah.
But why is it attributed by that?
Yeah. You see, if you take matter, really, if you want to study matter, because if you remember the second meditation, you're in the room, meaning Descartes is meditating, and he has this piece of wax. Fine. And here we've said that the whole world is suspended as to its referent. Meaning he's not saying that I'm going to study matter in terms of atoms and I don't know what. So if you remember, Descartes doesn't go to the lab in order to study matter, or he opens a chemistry book or physics books to study matter. What he does is that he remains in his room, meaning in his mind. Why? Because anyway, you're not sure about all of these things that we call atom, not atom, I don't know what. You're not sure of them. So, if you look at matter, how does it appear to you in thought? Given that you're in thought, you can only study things in terms of how they appear to you. Why? Because thinking is appearing equals being. So how does matter appear to you? What kind of appearance it is? Descartes says, spontaneously it seems to be hard, warm, colorful, smelly, all of these things that you know. But if these were constituting the essence of matter, should we be able to get rid of them? Color, smell, touch, all of the, the texture and stuff like that. Should you be able to get rid of them if they constitute the essence of matter? No, because the essence is what? In slang English, the essence is what? What cannot be? That which the thing cannot be without it. You cannot get rid of it. This is the essence. Okay? Now, if the essence of matter is to be yellow, you shouldn't be able to make yellow disappear. It's like thinking. Like you can't make thinking disappear from the soul. So if you melt the wax, does the temperature, color, etc. disappear? Yeah. What remains all the time? What remains all the time is the sluggishy thing. And The sluggish is saying its only characteristic that is all the time here is that it occupies a space and it can take many, many different occupations of space. I hope it's clear. So whatever you have as a material, it occupies a space. It can be not yellow, not warm, not white, not even wax if you really push what Descartes is saying. It can be whatever you want, but if it's a matter, what should it be? It should occupy a space. I hope now you understood this kind of experiment that he did. So what is the essence of matter? It's to occupy a space, to be extended. And this extension is what? Is that it's infinite in variation and in flexibility. Now, you can do as many shapes as you want with this matter, and you can stretch it as long as you want. So matter is a substance, apparently, something that subsists, which is extended because it occupies a space, and it is infinite in extension and shapes. Now, the infinite, do you get it with your eyes? Do you see the infinite? No, you see this big, that big, but you know the infinite with your mind. So this is why the access to the real is the mind and not your eyes, even the reality of matter. Okay? This is for matter. I hope it's clear. So you know that the essence of matter is extension as infinite extension and infinite variability of extension with your mind. And you know, with your mind, meaning with thought, the thought's essence, the soul's essence is thinking and not anything else. Not breathing, sleeping, eating, or all of these things that we used to think that they are the essence of the soul, meaning the living. Right?
So that is the essence of matter because it cannot be separated from it.
Yeah.
Because we can think
No, because you can't separate it from it. But how did you know that? By thinking, not by looking. Yep.
How Descartes move from the formal conditions to prove that God exists in formal conditions?
From the formal, no. He proves that he exists. The closest existence is him, not God. Be careful. You see, he said, can you doubt your formal conditions? In which sense? Yeah. Can you doubt your formal conditions? You can't. Why? Yeah, why it's impossible to get rid of your formal conditions?
You can't imagine a world without space, time, and number.
Great. Why?
Because we need space, time, and number to imagine.
Yeah, just tell me why.
It needs to be different from the
Thank you. Yeah.
the space.
Yeah.
Everything it needs to be present for a while.
Yeah.
Number, everything has a number.
Great. I say so. Whatever you think of or is present to you, for you to consider it to be something, to be a representation, as we say it here, it has to be different from you for a while and as number. So how can you then doubt your formal conditions? You can doubt them as inherent to the representations. So how can you doubt them? Any representation is spatio-temporal and numerical. How can you doubt them?
You don't doubt that they have a free will, you don't doubt that they are real in themselves present.
Great. So you cannot doubt them as configuring the images that you see, but you can doubt them as applying to something which is different from your thoughts. I hope you're getting this difference. Right? So maybe, you see this in space, etc., but maybe there isn't any space or numbers or anything in the thing itself. Okay, did you get this gap? Now, if you're doubting this gap, if you're not sure that your most ascertained representations are the case, are you the one who is doing this kind of correlation between your and what is the case? No. So who would be doing it?
God or not God, which
God or not God. So if God is doing the correlation, who is defined so far not yet as the perfect but as the all-powerful, can he be playing tricks on you? Can he create you as a simulation? Or you're the dream of I don't know what. The cat is dreaming that it's teaching philosophy. You can be that. You can be anything. You are in a simulation. So it follows that if God is the coordinator of essence and presence, you have reasons to doubt the coordination. If it's nature, do you have reasons to doubt?
Yes, it was accepted.
Great. We define God by perfect, the other one imperfect, and you have reasons to doubt. So hence, should you say anything now about anything? Should you say that indeed it is space, or indeed it is time, or anything? Should you make any statements?
That appears to us, it seems to us.
Yeah, but should you say that now it is a table? No. If you add, it appears to me, maybe. So each time you say something, aren't you betrayed?
Yes.
Yeah, and when you say I am betrayed, aren't you betrayed? So aren't you all the time betrayed? So is there betrayal now, which is even more persistent than space-time and number? There is betrayal. So maybe there isn't space-time and number, but there is betrayal. Conclusion, if there is betrayal, there must be the thing which is betrayed. First, existence. So you go into this and not into God. So the doubting of the former condition leads you to say, me, the betrayed being, I must exist because I'm being betrayed. And I'm unable to prove that there aren't or there isn't any betrayal. For God, it's another story. Questions on... No.
Das ist alles genau, why we should stop our research. Was verändert, wenn eine Idee ist clear?
You have to explain. Yeah. See, how do you stop your research? Which is also one of the explanation question. Yeah. How you are doing a research in physics, chemistry, philosophy, or whatever for Descartes. How do you know when you got somewhere? When things are clear and distinct. Okay? So be careful. In Descartes, you have what you call the confused. Confused is okay, it's confused. You're not sure, you're not thinking properly, you can't get it. So you are confused, for example, when you say, I'm throwing things, are they getting on the floor in the same time or not? You're confused. Now, another step is the distinct. You throw things and you see that they are getting on the floor at the same time, but you can't prove it. You see, this is the distinct. I hope you're getting the difference. Confused, you don't know. Distinct, it's something that you know of, but that you can't prove yet. So you know that this is gray, but you can't really, you don't have a theory to prove what it is, eye, color, stuff like that. You don't know yet. So the next step, it has to be distinct and clear. And this is, if you take the example of the falling bodies, the thing by Galileo. You do this mind experiment. I have two 1 kilo steel balls that fall at the same time. Why? Because they're equal masses, equal velocity. And when you bring them closer and closer, when they touch each other and you let them fall, you can consider that now it's a 2 kilo mass that is falling down, and you are sure now that it's falling down at the same exact speed as a 1 kilo or even 1 gram or milligram. You see, now this thought process gives you the clarity of this phenomenon. Do you know now that you have reached the truth by doing this clear thought experiment? By doing this thought experiment? This thought experiment, does it appear to you as obviously truthful? Yeah. And Descartes says, it appears to you as obviously truthful because when the mind reaches one of these truths, the truth appears to him just like that. You see, I hope you understand what he's saying. What he's saying, listen, if you are Einstein sitting in your office, and Einstein was a champion of these, for those who know Einstein, he's really like the guy who did thought experiments in all directions, and then he gave them a mathematical expression. You know, Einstein riding a light beam, and Einstein falling from the sky. You know, he had all kinds of story to explain to you how he's getting that what he's saying is for sure truthful. So if you're sitting in your room and you're doing these thought experiments, each time you reach this clarity, you know that you've hit on something truthful. And as you will see later, if you put God in the equation and real. Okay? But you see the clarity of the idea, as soon as you apprehend it or see it, you in the same time know that it is clear and truthful. And this it's a direct intuition. Nothing can explain why you feel that or see that. Actually, this explains everything else and not the other way around. Actually, it's only when you reach this kind of clarity that you can explain something, but you can't explain why you reach clarity. Why can't you explain why you reach clarity? Yeah, but let's suppose you have a research to explain why you have clarity. When would you stop? You should know by now. You have a research now to explain how come I have this kind of intuition of clarity. How can you stop? Huh? No, not it. No, no. This is Aristotle. Be careful, you're mixing them. Yeah.
When this clear stop?
So can you explain clarity? It's very simple, huh? To explain something, what should you reach? You just said it. To explain the falling bodies, what should you reach? What kind of explanation? A confused, a distinct, or a clear and distinct explanation? Huh? Clear and distinct, thank you. You should reach the place where you say, it's obvious, yes, this is the truth. Clarity. So to explain clarity, what should you reach? Clarity. So can you explain clarity? No. You see, but the guy is saying, listen, you can't explain clarity. Clarity is the principle of explanation. Because if you want to explain it, the theories that you'll make about clarity, you will know that it's a good theory when you reach clarity. So forget about explaining clarity. Clarity seems to be an intuition of the thought or an inspection of the spirit or whatever he calls it. It's like this, you know that it's right. You know that it's right. This is when you reach the end of your explanation. Other questions? Yeah. I will do the sample exam soon. Do you have questions on the content before I move to the exam? So I'll move to the exam. So the exam, 4 questions. Always, all the time. For your 3 tests, you will have 4 questions which are the same form of the questions. Okay? So you do it once. You know how it is for the rest of the semester. Question 1 is define and give an example, contrast and give an example. And you'll have 2 words. For example, physical doubt and substance. Okay, is it clear? This is how the question look on the paper. Exactly, it looks like that. Looks like define and contrast and give examples. Okay? Now, you should do like that, exactly like that, if you don't want to lose points. If you want to lose points, you do whatever you want. You should, when you want to answer, you should put a black dot and you write the word metaphysical doubt. You write it fully and you underline. Is this clear? You will see why soon.
Physical doubt just an example, right?
Not just an example. You write the word metaphysical doubt and now you have to define it. Okay? After you define it, you have to give an example. It's not that complicated. Can you define pen? What's the definition of pen? Tool to write. We've seen it with Aristotle. So how do you define in philosophy? What should you get and genus specific difference. So this is how you define in philosophy. You have X to define. You need to find the closest family and how this thing is different from the members of the family. Define human. Human belongs to what family of beings? Animal. And what makes it different from all the other animals? Thinking. So a definition of man is the animal that thinks, or as we say, is rational animal. So define metaphysical doubt. What is metaphysical doubt? Is it an animal? Is it a human? Is it a theory? What is it?
It's a thought.
Is it a thought?
Thinking process.
Thinking process?
It's doubt.
It's doubt. And what kind of doubt? Yeah, but you can't say metaphysical. It's true, it's doubt. Metaphysical doubt is a type of doubt. So you try to say it's doubt. You see here, you don't need to define doubt because already you are a subspecies of doubt. If I ask you to define doubt, it's different. It would be the thought that suspends the truth, suspending truth statement. This would be doubt. But metaphysical doubt is a doubt. What kind of doubt? If you remember your Descartes and if you have read the texts, or the notes at least.
When you doubt because you're not sure of something.
Yeah, but how does he qualify the Descartes?
To reach a goal.
Huh?
To reach a goal.
Not to reach, you need to tell me for what it is not the definition.
They're looking for truth.
No, this is the general purpose of doubt, that's the definition. I'll give you the it because apparently you didn't stumble on it. It's a doubt, and what makes it different from the other doubt? That is not serious. This is how Descartes puts it textually. Now, if you don't want to put it textually, it's a doubt about the correspondence of your formal conditions to some things that exist in itself. Okay? Is it clear? You know, the metaphysical doubt, when did it appear, if you remember? So when you are blocked in your formal conditions, and what are you doubting? If your formal conditions apply on something. Okay? So, you have these two answers. A doubt that is not serious is the definition by Descartes himself. Why? Because Descartes says, come on, you can't doubt your formal conditions. You only doubt them when you have this kind of image of God that could be tricking you, so it's not a very serious doubt. Technical definition, it's up to you to choose. Now you give an example. You write example, you underline without a point, and you give an example. And the example should expound on the definition. You don't just tell me I doubt my formal condition. You tell me I am in the room, it seems to me spatial, but nothing proves that in itself there is space. Is it clear how you give your example? So here you write your example. Then you put another point. You put another point and you contrast. Yeah.
Tell an example
Example, you say, my spatial condition tells me that I'm in a room which is spatial, but nothing proves that in itself there is a room which is spatial. You see, you have to not explain the definition, but just put an example that really follows what you said in the definition, depending on what you said in the definition. Then you put another point, and here you contrast. Now the contrast, because there's another way to define, usually these are the two ways to define. Either you generate specific difference, or you say it's not this, it's not that. How do you define hamra? Hamra definition, it's a commercial street in Beirut. Fine. How can you define hamra in a different way? Can you say hamra is not Marilys, bliss? Yeah. This is how you define by creating a boundary. You say, you know, man is not a monkey, he's not a cow, he's not, and this is how you're able to define. This is what for the contrast. So here, you need to find a contrast for metaphysical doubt. Meaning, what metaphysical doubt could be confused with? You pick another one. Empirical doubt, skeptical doubt, hyperbolic doubt. You pick yours. Let's take empirical doubt. You write empirical doubt. And you underline and you define. How do you define empirical doubt? It's a doubt about what? About the givens of the senses. Okay? So here about the senses. You're done. You give an example. Example.
You see a distant object that you think is blue,
And
then you come closer and it's
great. You put your example. This is a very good example. Okay?
What was the example?
Doesn't matter. You will not get there. You see a distance which seems to be blue from afar, and when you get close, it's red. Okay? This is what we call empirical doubt.
But sir, it's not like you're contrasting metaphysical doubt and empirical doubt. You're just getting another synonym.
No. So, because this thing, the contrast, is causing me trouble since I teach, I decided, because I don't know why everyone gets very confused about it, very, very confused, until today, I decided that you pick any word of your choice. So, at home, memorize 2-3 words, and you can just put them in, even if they have nothing to do with the first one. Okay? If the notion of contrast is too complicated, it's a free word. You have a bonus word. Bonus word. Just memorize any definition, put it here, and you will get your points. Okay? Now, after you do that, you skip a line. If you write line by line, you skip 2 lines if you are already skipping lines, meaning I need to see a little space between the 2 packs of definitions. Then you put a point. And you write substance, and you underline it, you put 2 points, you define. What is the definition of substance? Just like it. Great. It's a being who is a being because there's no higher than that. Substance is already a category. So it's a being that exists independently in thought and essence and presence, meaning in knowledge and in its presence. So here you have independent. It's a being which is independent in essence and presence. Okay? Now, you give an example from the Cartesian system, of course. What is the only substance almost that we know of? The easiest one. Thought. Here you put thought. Thought is a substance because I know it and it's there independently independent. Okay? Then you pick a free word, bonus word, or a contrast if you like to be rigorous. It's up to you. So you pick another word, whatever other word you want to pick. Sneer, you can pick hyperbolic doubt, it helps to choose exaggeration. calculator, you can pick whatever you want from Descartes. If you pick pen, you get 0. If you say pen, it's a tool to write, you get 0. Okay? So you have to pick a technical word. Here you put your technical word to point, define, example. Now you get 2 points for the definition, 2 points for the example, 2 points for the new definition, 2 points for the example, and you have 2 points for the presentation. If you don't do it like that, you lose 2 points. Yeah? Same for this one, which makes it 20 points. Is this clear? 20 points for definitions. You see these, they take 2 minutes. You shouldn't explain. If you explain, you get 0. If you start writing, substance is this, and you have to do the thought experiment, and you can't get rid of it, and you write all of that, you get 0. If you write substance is a being which is independent in essence and presence, you get 2, meaning you get a full grade. Because here you shouldn't explain, you should define. And defining is not explaining at all. Okay? So you have to understand what kind of thing it is, and how it's different from other kinds of things which are similar. This is how you define. And I assure you it's not easy to define. So I advise you, while you're studying, put words aside with their definitions. It will be very helpful. So question 2 is about explaining. Question 2 is explain. Explain or demonstrate. Okay? Now in question 1, if you only write these like that, you get 4. I'm very serious. If you don't define them, you only write them like that with underline, example, etc., I'll give you 4. So, 4, not 8, because for the presentation you have 2 for each. So you get 4. Now explain. How do you explain? It's what we did before when your friends were asking questions. Like, for example, the problem of being. How is it a problem? You explain. Yeah.
Not related to before, you will give us another.
No, you have questions as before, meaning what we did at the beginning of the hour.
No, I mean it's not related to.
No, it's over. It has nothing to do. It's not, it could be related, but it has nothing to do. I can ask you, for example, prove the existence of God via the metaphysical doubt. But here, it's not that you define it. No, here you explain. We doubt the infinite, the 3 form of the infinite. You can't get rid of it. It must be there, etc. You explain.
So number 2 don't link to number 1.
It's not related to number 1. It's like your quiz question. Is it clear? You did one already in the quiz. You do exactly, hopefully better, but you do what you did in the quiz. It's like the quiz. Okay? It can be more clear. So I can ask you, why the evil genie ends up proving that you exist? Can you doubt your formal conditions? What is the essence of the soul? What is the essence of matter? Demonstrate that the infinite is an actual, truthful, positive idea. All of these questions are explanation questions. Is this clear? Either it's a course question, it comes as it is. Question 3 is comment. Now, when you explain what is very important before moving into comment, when you explain, you have to be able to follow a reasoning which is very clear and very well articulated. So if you have a tendency to just write ideas, put your ideas first on a scratch, organize them, and I need to see a line of thought. If I don't see a line of thought, if I just see ideas coming from the course, you will lose points. You will barely get to 20. I need to see really like a line of thought. Now, how do you begin the line of thought? With the question. It's very simple. If the question says, can you prove your existence via the evil genie? You begin the evil genie is tarara and tarara, and you start going from one sentence to the other. I can give you an unbeatable technique. Each sentence following a sentence must contain something from the previous sentence. It's clear? It's not that complicated. If the question has evil genie, you begin evil genie. You say evil genie is a habit to believe. What is to believe? What is to, if you say believe is to assert the truth about, what is the about? And this is how you move till you conclude. With that, you get 25 for sure, I assure you. It's much better than just writing whatever comes to your mind because you know it's there somewhere and you start just putting information on the paper. You shouldn't put information on the paper. Each sentence you should ask yourself, yeah, why, what is that? You continue. Yes, why, what is that? You continue until you answer the question. It's clear? Okay, this is for explain. Now 3 is comment. Comment, you will have a text. A text from the text that you are supposed to have read already from the end of the booklet. You will have one of these texts. I'll give you half a page and you will have to comment. To comment is what you did a little bit last time. So you already know how it goes. You really need to be able as a commentary to do 2 things. The first thing you have to do is to check the content. What is the main idea he's discussing? How is he proving it? With what arguments? Are there objections, counter-objections? All of that work. This is clear. See, a commentary begins like that. You have to be able to say, when you read the text, he's trying to prove this or he's criticizing that. Okay? Now, the second section is that you need to deal with the form. What does it mean? It means that if you just tell me, give me the demonstration which is in the text, clean and nice, you would be explaining, you wouldn't be commenting. If you tell me he's trying to prove that thought is the essence of the soul, and you give me the demonstration of how thought is the essence of the soul, you're not commenting. So you have to give me, while you're giving me what he's trying to prove, how he's trying to prove it. But this is when you have to talk about, this is when you have to talk about the statistical kind of tricks that he is using. You have to tell me, he began this proof by giving an example, then he gave a metaphor or an analogy, and actually this analogy is not serving the argument because. Okay, after a while he cracked a joke here, he was funny here, but if you only say that, it doesn't work. Then he was funny here because he's trying to capture my attention because this is when he's writing the conclusion. This is how you proceed. You don't just tell me he's funny, it's a metaphor, it's confused, he's great, he's wonderful, stuff like that. No. If you tell me he's great, I need to know why. And the why is about how he's able, with forms, with metaphors, analogies, examples, etc., to convey the content in a good or bad way. Is this clear?
Do we have to give description he's great because do we have to say he's great?
No, we shouldn't say Descartes is great.
And then it's like, you just explain without saying why he's great?
If you say he's great, or if you say he's not great, this is not the point.
No.
The point is that if you say he's great, you have to tell me why.
Okay.
And his greatness should be the conformity of what he says to the way he says it. You see, if you tell me Descartes is incredibly clear, you have to show me that actually when you write like he's writing, let's suppose each time he writes a sentence, he connects it to the second one, and the second one reminds you of the first, etc., etc. You show me that by writing this way, it's a clear text. And this is why it's great. You see, in a commentary, you don't, as you usually do, I think, you don't argue with him. You don't say, I don't agree with him when it comes to his thoughts about matter. You just tell me, whatever he's thinking about matter is, okay, this is what he's thinking about matter, and your job is to show me how the way he was able to think about matter was actually very, very good or bad. Okay? Because when you read, you know what he wants to get at. And you have to show me that the means he's using, metaphors, images, text, redundancies, all of these things are serving or not his purpose. Okay? If you give me just the content, you get 15. If you give me just the form, you get 15. If you tell me he's great, he uses metaphors, he's so clear, you get 15. To get 20 and above, you need to mix content and form. Remember the example. If he cracks a joke, you don't just tell me this is a joke. Tell me it's a joke here because in the demonstration, this is the best place or the worst place to put a joke. Okay? You have to relate the form to the content. And you need to quote. And when you quote, you write the full sentence and not the first word and 3 dots. You write the full sentence, or I don't consider it to be a quote. Now, why you should write the full sentence? Because you have to comment on the sentence. You tell me this is a metaphor. He made a metaphor before demonstrating X. I need to see the metaphor. I need to see that indeed it is a metaphor. Okay? So you need to quote. You don't quote, you lose automatically 2 points.
Go to while explaining.
Yeah. Of course. How can you speak about the form? If you say blah blah blah, he made a metaphor, I need to see the metaphor. I need to see why it is a metaphor and how it's serving his purpose.
How many quotes should you quote, or there's no specific context?
It's up to you to divide and rearrange the text in the most meaningful way in order to prove your point. I hope this is clear. And this is part of the grade. So it's not that you have to follow the text as it is. Part of the grade is you see what is the main idea, you're able to see that these are the major things, and you do your comment. Okay? I hope it's clear. Commenting doesn't mean now you comment line by line each word. This is not a good commenter. Okay? This is 25. No. You get 20. You get 15 if you only speak about content. You get 15 if you only speak about form. If you want to get 20 and above, you have to mix them together. So this is on 25. This is on 25. And the last one is an essay, which is on 30 points. Okay? Essays are on 30 points. So with that, you will have done all the ways of thinking, or most of the ways of thinking in philosophy. You need to know how to define, how to explain, how to comment, and that's how to write a short reflection. And this is where you can bring in your stuff. This is where you can say Descartes is an idiot, I don't like him, and stuff like that. You do it here. Until now, you just answer as, just answer what he, in accordance to what he said.
Yes, you give us a question.
Yeah.
May you give us a question?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So you have to say, does God exist? This is an essay question. Okay? You see, it's a general question. Does God exist? Is science in conflict with religion? Stuff like that. Who are you? You know. Nice questions, like the nice questions are here. Like, who am I? It's here. Can you be sure of anything? Stuff like that. This kind of questions which are related to Descartes, but they open on something larger than Descartes. Yeah.
Should we use information?
Yeah, I explain how you answer. Now, if I ask you, for example, does God exist? Let's suppose this is the question. If you write everything in the course and you write it correctly, you get 18. So if you write the course notes, you get 18. Really, if you write the whole demonstration from meditation 1 till 6, you get 18. Knowing that, you write it, all of it, correctly. Now, each time you make a mistake, you lose 2 points. Each time you make a mistake, you lose 2 points. So you have a tendency to go towards 2. Because I don't put 0. It's psychological. So you go towards 2. Okay? So you see, I don't advise you to do that. Really, don't do it. You will get less than 18. If you write the whole course, which takes a lot of time, you get 18 and below. Now, the other solution is that you bring in something which is not part of the course, be it your religion, your beliefs, the Big Bang theory, wherever. When you do that, you get immediately 20, and you cannot go lower than 20. So it's clear. So immediately, if you just send me in the Big Bang theory, I don't know what, blah, 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 you can't prove God, point, you get 20. Now, if you want to get 22, you have to put the Big Bang theory with Descartes. Tell me, Big Bang theory says that, Descartes says this, you just make a contrast. Okay? A simple, blunt, frontal contrast. Big Bang theory proves that there's no God. 1, 2, 3. Descartes actually proves that there is a God. You are around 22. Okay? Now, if you multiply the contrast, you remain at 22. Now, if you tell me Big Bang theory contrast with Descartes on God, and then on the soul, and you only make contrast like that. The Big Bang theory said this, Descartes said that. These, I don't know, Islam says this, Descartes says that. And you just do contrast. You can accumulate 100 contrasts, you remain at 22. Is this clear? To move towards 23, 24, you need to make analogical comparisons. You need to tell me, let's suppose you picked Islam or Big Bang or whatever to contrast with Descartes. You tell me, in Islam, what is doubt for Descartes is, I don't know, ijtihad in Islam or whatever. You find your analogies. You tell me what stands as a God in here or as a law of nature there in Descartes is that. You see, with the example you picked, so there's no need to pick 1,000 examples. With the contrast you pick, you start telling me that actually, you see, for the Big Bang scientists' theories, what stands as a law of nature is what would be for Descartes the infinite substance, meaning God. While actually the atoms would be like blah blah, and you do this kind of comparisons between the two. Okay? This is clear. Now, to get around 26, you stick to the example you're analyzing, and instead of doing analogies forever, now you move into comparing reasonings. What does it mean? It means you start comparing demonstrations and not just positions in the demonstrations. What does it mean? If you take Big Bang theory, you know that the procedures to prove this in the Big Bang theory goes like that. And you know that the procedure to prove that in Descartes goes like this. And now you compare procedures, reasonings, logics, and not anymore just results and analogies between the two theories. This is clear. And you know here you have to know your thing. You have to know how the Big Bang theory functions, on which mathematical ground, what are its presuppositions, or how it really is able to prove what it proves. And then you have to compare that to the way Descartes functions and how is able him to prove what he proves. Yep.
First, we give the example and then we do the general structure.
First, you give the simple example, Big Bang theory. You contrast it with Descartes. You say Descartes didn't say this, or he has an opposite view. Then you do the analogies. You see, the Big Bang theory is the chief, highest principle is natural law, let's say, or the curve of space-time, whatever it is. While in Descartes, it's God. But in Descartes you have doubt. What would be the equivalent of doubt there? You can tell me maybe experimentation, I don't know. And you start doing your crisscrossing, just analogic. Last, what you need to do last is you stop doing this crisscross. After establishing the analogies, you move into procedures. you tell me there in theoretical physics to prove something, you need to do this exact type of proofs. You see, this proof could be now similar to Descartes. I don't know. It could be different. But on the level of the way of proving, you could find now intersections and differences that you didn't have in the analogies. And this is how you build. Okay? If you want to go to verse 28, you bring in the historical history of science and the history of philosophy, and you compare. If you have this knowledge, you can get to 28, meaning then you actually know the Big Bang Theory came after Newton and after this and that. You see, Descartes came after the scholastic philosophy, and when you have this kind of predecessors, you get this kind of theory, and maybe you can find here points of intersections between the two. Okay, but here you have to know your history of science, plus the way it functions, and then to conclude in the theory. I don't put 30 also for
The history of Descartes.
Huh?
And the history of philosophy and Descartes.
Yeah, you need to know
Would
that.
you also know it?
Huh?
Would you also know it? And the history.
No, if you want to get to verse 28, you need to know, like you need to have a perspective over how this theory came to be, and how the other theory came to be, and you start comparing how these theories came to be, and how this affects them as theories. See, it becomes more, you need to know more when you get to verse 28. But if you do that, I'll give you 28. It's not
Could you have an essay question that agrees with Descartes' philosophy, or it's overall going to have something that's opposed?
The problem is not here. The problem is you need to find something else. I hope this is clear. You can tell me I watched a movie, and in this movie things don't work like in Descartes. Or things do work like in Descartes. It doesn't matter. So it can be opposed or agree, really doesn't matter. But then you have to show me how they agree or oppose, and etc. Really, you can pick whatever you want. I didn't talk about the matrix and stuff like that, just like that. You see, Descartes can really be expounded in many, many different ways. In movies and in computer video games and whatever you want, you can in social media, etc. So you can tell me, to live in social media is like to live in the thinking substance. We're not sure anymore about the truth of the world. How can you guarantee the truth of the world when you are in front of the screens all day? And you really like and develop on that. It doesn't need to be only science and religion and stuff like that. This is clear. And this calls for your creativity and your wit and your power of being able to really move with the theory. All is clear. So the more unexpected, contrasty the contrast is, the better it is, of course. You can bring the gap and politics. Could be interesting. I don't know. It's up to you to really be able to form this contrast. Is this clear? Okay.
Because I say
No. I assure you, this test I give it since 10 years, in all the sections. No one was ever late. So to give definition takes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes? It's one line. Okay, the explanation, as you know it or you don't. The explanation is a course question. Okay, commentary. It's not that, you just look at the text, you see the main idea, what's nice in it, and how you did it. And the rest you leave, I don't know how much was time, but you leave the rest for this. That's it.
We have the whole session.
That's the whole session and plus 10 minutes. Okay, you have 1 hour and 25 minutes. So usually you have plenty of time. It's not a problem. So that's it. Do you have questions or it's clear? So yeah.
Historical information on the product.
This is if you want to get to 28.
You need to research it.
It's up to you. These things you can research and forget. As you already have the philosophical knowledge and scientific religious knowledge, all you know. But really, this is really like to get 28. give 30, maybe if you do an exceptional work, I will give you 30. Really not. It's good if you get a 24. Yeah. Rotation. If he says there's a metaphor for storage or existence, you think it's the same concept. You show how it relates to content.
Our opinions.
As I explained, okay. Comments, you don't say if you agree or disagree with him. Just say he's trying to explain that. He's using this language, it's helping him with
Question 1, 2, they're not related to the text. They do them without reading the text, right?
Yeah.
And that question, if a question you read the text and you answer 3 and 4.
No. These questions have nothing to do with one another.
Yeah.
Very
But which one for the text? 3 is the only 3 is related to the text.
Yeah, that's all.
4 is also something.
All fours have nothing to do with the text, no definitions, nor anything. Yeah.
بس كمان last time.
Yeah.
I came like 3 minutes late.
You're late.
بس كان نزل لك بس نسيت.
I put a mark in it.
احنا كان maximum 3 times late.
No, kill 3 lates, 1 axis. You can be late as much as you want. You lose points. You lose some points.
The number of absences is 3 and
Kill 3 late, 1 absence.
1 absence minus 1 or shit.
1 absence is 1 over 33. Yeah, 0.003 from your final grade. Okay.
Sir, في hours
في office hours اليوم.
في
If you book,
second section.
yeah, did you book?
Can I book هلا؟
I'll let you book.